Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Compact Claustrophobia. In the last episode, we set up our super duper amazing slime farm, and I'm gonna add one more thing to this room, so let's go set it up. I kinda wanna have eggs automatically gathered, and I don't need something big for this, so we're just gonna head in here. We're gonna kind of move this around a little bit. We're gonna put the tunnel here. We're gonna set you to be output, and you need to be set on the structure duct. And give you a redstone. You are set to slime blocks, so we can just move this. There we go. Slime less than 1,000. And we can even move, we actually didn't need to move that guy. So let's put you on the cable. Cool. And I'm gonna grab another cable or a little bit out of here and an external storage as well. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna hook this guy up. That should work. And then we need a cache over here. We're gonna set up this cache with eggs. We're gonna put an external storage on it. And what we're gonna do is just a hopper here. I'm gonna get some of these strips that will go on the side. And hopefully I don't kill my chickens. I think I have more. I have 2 extra. Okay. So, boom. Yeah, they keep going into the walls. Okay, so we can have 1 chicken, to be honest. It should be fine. So we're gonna put you here. And then we're gonna put the strip back. And then we're gonna nudge you in. Go. Be the chicken. The 1 chicken that I need. Because I don't need a ton of eggs for anything. We need them for crafting the cows. But other than that, it should be fine. And I think the morb and stuff got collected. That should be good. All right. So we now should have a slow production of eggs with the single chicken. Also, a probably good thing would be to add one of these on top. So he doesn't... We can actually probably fit... Ooh, you know what? Since he's a small chicken, we can probably fit all of them inside of a nice compact block. Hold on. So we're gonna do one of those, and one of those. So he's a nice glass blockified, and it looks prettier. I think it's finally time that we tackle the fusion reactor. And since we only have 1 maximum compact machine left to build in, I'm gonna make another one. And for that, we need a whole bunch of glitched large machines that we need to turn into giant machines that we need then to turn into glitched machines and then turn into the maximum compact machine. And for that, we need a whole bunch of large compact machines to begin with. So I think it's okay if we set up an automatic system of creating large compact machines. It's going to be pretty much very similar to the setup that I have here for making the walls and what I use to make the normal compact machines up top here that is currently permanently turned off. So I'm just going to do that in here and get it set up. I hope I can make it look pretty as well. I have a fully functioning system, and it's really compact, and everything is in the floor. And I totally forgot that destructors can also pick up items instead of breaking, and constructors can also drop items instead of placing. So you should see this trigger. It's gonna place, Ender Pearl gets dropped, and as soon as the compact machine is made, it's dropped directly on the destructor, which picks it up. And the next thing that I'm gonna do is just move the floor and the miniaturization field projectors up by 1 block, and also move these 3 things up by 1 block so we can hide everything in the floor, because that would basically mean that the floor would be right here, and we can even have a detector here on the timer that is hooked up to the constructor via a cable, and we can have a fully functioning large compact machine production system that is super compact and super clean. This is now a fully functioning system that is also going to be completely hidden when under the floor. And we have a strong box with 2 stacks of compact machine walls at all times. I have an exporter with 2 speed upgrades that cover the speed at which we need to extract the compact machine walls so as to not run out of them while crafting. This guy is detecting when we equal 36 large compact machines. And as soon as we do, this turns off immediately, so it doesn't craft another one, which is wonderful. The rest I have explained before. This is getting charged up, and that is pretty much it. So what I have to do now is cover this up in some sort of floor, and I need to go 2 blocks out of each one of these for the middle floor here. And around it, I think we're gonna go with a little bit of quartz of some sort of variety, possibly maybe these. Might look cool. I don't know. I'll figure out which ones I want, but I will fix up the floor so it looks kind of nice and okay. Hopefully, this is the last time I have to do this. It probably won't be, because you know me, I'm gonna need another maximum compact machine before we can get diamonds, so we might be doing this again. But anyway, this is gonna make us a maximum compact machine in which we can now set up our fusion reactor. I have spent way too long in a creative world testing out which kind of reactor, which kind of fuel, which kind of everything we're gonna use here, and I think I have a working solution. We're gonna use molten lithium and molten boron, and specifically lithium 7 and boron 11, I believe. And we're gonna set up those in a separate compact machine. We can store them in the refined storage system and then directly export them into this reactor, probably underneath, because we can hide it underneath the floor. I left 2 blocks of space here specifically so I can walk underneath, and we can put cabling underneath if necessary. So the way these reactors work, you firstly need fusion electromagnets. These are the transparent versions, so you can so they're see-through. You assemble these in a circle, or a squircle as it is called in Minecraft properly, and you leave a gap in the middle here, and basically these are red if they don't have power, and if they have power, which is provided with these cryostabilized fluid ducts, they turn green. And so long as all of them are green, the reactor should function normally. And this one should be taking around 20,000 RF per tick to run. So it should be fine with the power that we're making. And in here, we have a whole lot of things. First of all, the temperature went up while we provided it power when that connected while I placed the cable initially. So I just disconnected it because I don't want the reactor turning on when we have no fuel or anything just yet. These 2 slots are going to be the fuel. This is the outputs, and then here we have the energy stored, the temperature, and the efficiency. And this reactor is going to run at a very, very, very high temperature, I believe. So if we cool it enough with some active cooling, we can simply run it at 100% efficiency, which it will take probably 10 years to get to, but we'll see. But yeah, that should be what we need. So now I'll go into a small compact machine here. We're going to assemble a setup where we create molten lithium and molten boron, and we store it in the system, and then we can see about starting our reactor. The creation of lithium 7 is started with an isotope separator that separates lithium dust into lithium 7 and tiny clumps of lithium 6, and we can add a simple servo here on top. We're going to need a couple, and we can just do that, and it should distribute into their corresponding cache. Cool. What we can do next is give you a stack of each of the upgrades, because that is going to run at 650 RF per tick and just produce that super quickly. We can also smack a detector here on the side just to say, let's say 1,000 of this. Just so we aren't running this constantly, we can do an exporter only with redstone signal. So that should do its thing. I didn't even need to upgrade the caches, but I'm going to upgrade this one so it can store a whole bunch of items. And we're probably going to install a nullifier anyway to avoid the excess if we ever get to that point. But this other side is going to have the same thing, but for boron. And what we can do then is we can then extract this into a melter. And do we want to put melters here? And then we can put tanks in the middle. Make another one like that and like that. And that should be a good enough room, I think, because then we can just do an item duct right here in the corner, and we don't need to use the refined storage system to control this. We can just control the melter directly, I think. Yeah, that should be fine. We need to transport the liquid here, and we need an external storage on this. So we might do that, like so we can have a duct in the middle. Yeah, we can control the servo with a detector. That should be fine. All right, so if we add another servo here, like so, we can extract it into the melter. We're gonna give you, yeah, you know what? I'm dumb. We can just use a signal and plated fluid duct on top. That will be fine. And I'm just gonna put an signalum plated item duct here, and we're gonna disable that like so it doesn't go into the wrong spot, but that should be melting. And we're gonna give you 8 speed upgrades. I think should be plenty of speed for what we need, and this will slowly fill up with power and start working a little bit faster. And we can then just say a servo. I don't have any more resonant ones. I want resonant, please. I can just make a couple this way. That should be fine. Okay, we're gonna servo this out into the tank. Awesome. And we can put a cable here in the corner. We can put a detector here on the bottom, and we can say fluids emit when under the amount. You're gonna be on redstone control, and you're gonna be a bucket of lithium 7. And we're gonna emit when we're underneath 100,000. Well, you know what? We don't need to have a super backlog because this is gonna produce it faster than we're gonna use it. Yeah, 100,000 should be fine. Let's do a stack of these, please. Oh, I don't have. Ooh, hardened glass. Aha, the thing that I didn't automate is gonna come into play. Okay. Yeah, that should be fine. Right, external storage. Cable here. We're gonna set up a whitelist for fluids, lithium, and flipsy doodles. Bam. Right? So we should now have molten lithium in the system slowly coming through. You're on redstone mode because this guy is emitting a signal. So we're gonna say emit when we are above the amount. So it's gonna make 100,000 millibuckets, and then it's gonna stop this smelter. And I'm going to do the same thing for boron, and we can then export both to the reactor and get it up and running, hopefully. And I totally messed this up. We need a detector here on the side, and we need an external storage here. We need the system to know how much lithium we have for it to be able to detect it. So we're going to say under the amount of lithium 7, 1,000. And now we should be exporting lithium properly. With boron here, we're running into a few issues. We have already boron here that is being melted. We are taking the other part, which is the boron 10, because that's the thing that's needed here in the chemical reactor to make diborane, I believe. And we have a butt ton of boron 11, but if we use it in the reactor, we have no way of automatically controlling to get more of this. So what I'm thinking is we can set up the lithium probably in here as well. Or maybe an even better idea, actually, is we're going to remove boron production from here. I'm going to take this down, and we're going to go to that same small compact machine here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have an isotope separator, and we're going to extract the boron 11 and the tiny clumps of boron 10 into both sides. And we're going to have melters with tanks right next to them, and we're going to melt both boron 10 and boron 11. And then on the other side, we're going to see if we have enough space to fit in another melter and another tank. We can possibly do it up here as well. That might work because we can just bring the cable up top and should be fine. I have managed to fit everything in here. It starts here for the boron with the isotope separator that has an exporter with redstone mode, and it's detected for 1,000 of the tiny clumps and 1,000 of the regular boron 11, and then it gets melted into molten boron 10 and melted into molten boron 11, and it's all set to 100,000, so this is still processing because we're under. And here on the other side, it's a little bit more wonky, but it still does the exact same thing. But we are taking this isotope separator, and do I have item ducts all on top? I do. Okay, just so we don't cause an issue. But this is isotope separating 1,000 lithium 7s, which are in here. And I assume you're set to like fluid or something. No, you're set to items. Why are you not exporting any more things? Only work with redstone signal. Oh, because you have to export lithium. Haha, there we go. Okay, that was the problem. But there it goes. It's going to make more lithium here. And it should make it faster than we're using it in the melter, I think. Yeah, it's kind of doing a thing. Yeah, I think it's okay. All right. So the detector is detecting the exporter, exporting lithium and separating it into both pieces. I could add a nullifier for the tiny clumps of lithium because we already made 3,000 of them, and this can hold 30,000. The problem here is that I don't have a space to put a nullifier, and this would work in a priority when If I put a nullifier here, it would go into the nullifier first. Unless we do this to say furthest first. Right? So it's gonna do that. If we add a nullifier, that might work actually. Let's add a filter here. Nullifier, filter. You're set to top to be nothing for the time being. Let me grab one of these. We'll add a whitelist. And then we can set an input on top. And we'll see. It should go here first before the nullifier. Yeah. Okay. So once this cache fills up, it should go into the nullifier and get voided. Okay. That was a quick little fix there as well. But the rest here on the side is just exporting lithium 7. And then we're detecting on 100,000, which is right in here. It should finish any moment now. There we go. So this smelter should not get any more lithium. And the way I'm transferring the fluids, you can see we don't transfer it here on top, kind of like we do over here with just a couple fluid ducts. I have an importer here in the corner that's just going to constantly import lithium. And it should just store it here because it has no other place to go. So we should be fine. And we can now grab a bunch more of these walls and just cover up the floor. And that is a room complete. I'm also going to grab a couple of covers and especially make a couple more of these covers. The hollow ones. Let's just make a stack of them. And we can cover up these external storages here on the bottom. And this one over here. And that is pretty much complete. Almost. Just a few more covers. No, not this ones. These ones. Cover. Cover. And cover. Now it is complete. We can try this together. I'm going to set this guy to fluids and then molten boron, molten lithium. Will you go into both spots? You will. Awesome. Okay, so we're getting fluids come into here and we should be producing them fast enough. We can even check in the fluid grid. I think currently they're being emptied a little bit, but once the buffer here fills up, we shouldn't be using it faster than we're making it. I am now going to try and start up the reactor. I'm storing a bunch of power in these power cells so I can specifically power the reactor individually from this, and I don't burn the power directly from the base. I'm kind of charging up cells as I go over here, which kind of is okay. I think this is going to give it a bit of a burst more of energy, and we're going to see if this is going to last us at all a little bit, because the power or the temperature will drop as if we don't provide it enough power, but we'll see how much it takes. Currently, all of these still have a little bit to go. You're full. We can toss you here, set you to output mode on all sides. We can add another one here to get fully charged up. And I have a few left that have a little bit of power in them, but we should be okay. This is still draining. How are we doing? We're 5,000. Okay, almost there. You're full. Let's get you on top of here. Let's set output on the bottom and output on all sides. So that should output directly into the reactor thing. Put you down, you down, you down. Okay, get charged up. Oh, this one's still full. This one's still full. This is drained. This is drained. Draining, drained. Let's just pick up the drained ones while we're here. You're drained. You are almost drained. You are drained. Oh, the temperature is still rising very slowly. I think we're not providing it enough power. This is charging from my flux capacitor as well, which will charge eventually. Oh, output on the bottom. Okay, this one's almost empty. This one's still doing its thing. I think it's emptying out as much as it possibly can. But we're slowly getting there. I think we might be able to do it. We'll see. I have to move more energy cells over, but I'll just do this until we get it started, hopefully. I totally didn't press record while this reactor started, but I set up underneath here a helium collector to get us a 1 bucket of helium so we can filter it on a servo and we can directly just void it. We have helium collectors and this produces a stupid amount of helium that we don't really need. And the other one I just blacklisted on helium gas and that extracts neutron fluid. And we have 80 millibuckets. And we can then bring a cable over and even upgrade this tank as well with a kit of some kind. There we go. Boom. So we can store a bunch of neutron fluid. And we can also do a another fluid duct here. And we can then void the rest of the neutron fluid. But given that we're making like 10 millibuckets every operation that this reactor does, I don't think we're ever going to fill it. Because we just made 100 millibuckets. And we're going to keep on using it to make glowstone. So I don't think it should become an issue anytime soon. The other issue that we need to take care of is cooling for the reactor. Otherwise, I think eventually this will explode. So we need active cooling that can keep the reactor at 100% efficiency, which this guy is going to get to very, very slowly, but it will eventually. And for that, we need some of these active fluid coolers that we're just going to fill with water, and they are going to cool our reactor. And the way these fluid coolers work, you give them water via an infinite water source, and then they cool the reactor. Each one does 200 kelvins per tick. And what you can do then is if we place these two like this, if we go on the exact opposite diagonal and place these two like so, this gets exponentially higher. So instead of doing just like 400 or 400 per side, which means it does 800, it does a whole lot more. And that is 3,200 Kelvin. I think it's like times 4 or something. So then we can add another one here on top, and that should be as soon as it updates. I think it did. We can do that. That's 3,600. And if we go down here and add another one like this, where are we at now? I think this should be 5,000. Yes, that's 5,000. It's kind of sad that I can't put another one here. To just for aesthetical purposes, but it is what it is. We could just put regular active fluid coolers with water on like a line and not put them diagonally to get the 5,000. I think that would also work, but I think it's all right. I added a external storage down here on the bottom to store the neutron fluid in our refined storage system, and I don't want to wait to get a bucket full of neutron fluid before we start crafting glowstone. So we're going to do a bit of cheatiness, but that's only for filtering. I'm going to grab a bucket and all we're going to do is add it to a filter here. And then we're going to remove said bucket. And that's it. Just so we have it whitelisted, just so we don't start inputting water if we use up all of the neutron fluid in the system. And we can now probably purpose one of these small ones to make glowstone, because we need to do what with the neutron fluid? I think you combine it with a neutron irradiator, destabilized redstone, and neutron fluid to make energized glowstone. You get half a bucket for every 10 millibuckets of neutron fluid. We need to do cheatiness again, because I need to add it to a filter again, and I don't want to wait. So we're going to do that. Okay, and now we can remove this. Done. Okay, neutron fluid. Okay, now we grab a hardened duct, just for the time being. Power. Super slow. How much power do you use? 20 RF. Upgrades. Ha, wonderful. 8. 8 is like my go-to number. Yeah, decent. Decent. We get energized glowstone. And we can possibly use a fluid duct here. And we can grab ourselves a tank. Or actually a couple of tanks. And possibly a nullifier as well, because that is going to be necessary. And what we're going to do actually is we're going to... It's going to do nearest first. If we put the nullifier in the corner, it should be fine. Yeah. So fluid ducts. Nail and plated. Go bam, 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 bam. Nullifier just be disabled for the moment. And I need a filter here on top. And we need some buckets. Okay. Can I grab these specific things out with like a right click? Okay, I can grab glowstone. Got it. Hot stuff. Complete. Let me put a couple more filters here on this so we don't ever mess it up. And we're gonna grab one of these, set a whitelist here, and we're just gonna do a blacklist of energized glowstone here and a blacklist of energized glowstone there. Because I don't think we should overproduce this if we have our kits on our tanks like that. And then we do a detector here for neutron fluid and the redstone as well. So we don't extract too much. We can grab a servo here in the middle and boom. I said boom. Energized glowstone. 11 buckets. And also some sort of molten potassium hydroxide. We can now easily set up automated glowstone. We're gonna exporter cryothium dust with a crafting upgrade just all the time here. And we're gonna then export here with redstone a bit of energized glowstone. And I'm just gonna toss in this bucket myself. And that should be turned into that. Haha, glowstone. We have it. And now we can detector, say emit when we have less than 500 glowstone. I think we'll run out of energized glowstone very, very quickly. It's making a little bit. It makes 4 at a time. We could set it to 1,000. You know what? The reactor should be fine, I think. If it explodes, it explodes. It should be good. But we ran out of that. But as soon as we get a operation of the reactor, we get 2 buckets of energized glowstone. And that turns into, I think like 8 glowstone total. But we have glowstone. We can now make phytogenic insulators. We can make lumium. We can make so many things. But all of that is going to have to wait until next episode, so I want to thank you all so much for watching. I am hoping you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure you smash the like button down below. You can also subscribe to get notified of when new videos go live. You can support me on Patreon as well if you want, and I will see you all in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye-bye.